If squirrels had bank accounts, they'd probably be richer than most of us. Think about it. They collect, they stash, they wait. They don't panic sell their acorns during a nut recession. They play the long game like tiny, fuzzy Warren Buffetts. Meanwhile, meet John. John is not a squirrel. He's a 32-year-old graphic designer with a subscription to 6 different streaming platforms and a tendency to order tacos when he's sad, bored, or breathing. John is also trying to build wealth. Only problem? No one ever told him what that actually means. He heard the words growing up: wealth, rich, financial freedom, but they always sounded like something other people achieved, like yacht people. Meanwhile, John was taught that being good with money meant 2 things: don't overspend and remember to pay your bills on time. Cool. And then what? Where does wealth actually come from? A better job? A side hustle? Becoming an Instagram real estate guru with a drone? John tried all of it. He watched YouTube videos, read financial blogs, subscribed to a newsletter that said 7 passive income ideas, but mostly just talked about drop-shipping fidget spinners. Still broke. So one day, out of frustration, he messaged his friend Olivia. Olivia, unlike John, seemed to have her life together. She owned 2 rental properties, wore sweaters that made her look like she read The Economist for fun, and once explained compound interest to a group of drunk 20-somethings using gummy bears. John texted her, "Yo, real question. How did you actually start building wealth? Like, actually?" Olivia replied in all lowercase, like she always does, "You have to stop thinking like a worker and start thinking like a builder." At first, John was like, "Okay, Yoda, but what does that mean?" So they got coffee, and Olivia explained it like this. You know how in video games, you start with a basic character, and you can either run around fighting monsters, or you can build a base that makes weapons while you sleep? John nodded. He's a gamer. Well, most people spend their whole life being the fighter, trading time for gold, working harder, leveling up. But the people who build wealth, she said, they build bases. And that's when it hit him. He'd been chasing income, not wealth. Wealth isn't just having a lot of money. Wealth is when your money has a job, when it shows up to work even if you don't, when it doesn't wait for you to clock in before it starts growing. Olivia pulled out her phone and showed him her setup. First, investments. Her index funds had been slowly growing for 5 years. Nothing dramatic, no crypto to the moon nonsense, just boring, consistent, compound growth. She called it her slow cooker money. You set it, you forget it, you come back later and it smells amazing. Second, cash flow. Her 2 rental units paid her every month. Not a fortune, but enough to cover groceries and a car payment. And third, skills. Olivia had invested in a few high-income skills, like digital marketing and UX writing, that allowed her to freelance at better rates than most full-timers. That part surprised John. I thought building wealth was all about stocks and properties. It is, Olivia said, but wealth starts in your brain, not your wallet. And that's the part no one told him. Wealth doesn't magically appear when you make more money. It appears when you keep more money, when you grow more money, when you multiply it with intention, not just hustle. John realized he was doing what everyone around him did. Make money, pay bills, spend what's left, repeat. It wasn't irresponsible, it just wasn't wealth building. He was like someone trying to fill a bathtub with the drain open. And the bank, well, the bank was like a friend who offered to watch your money and then left it sitting in a folding chair with a juice box. Olivia showed him a diagram she drew on a napkin, because she's that kind of person. At the center was you. Around it were 3 arrows: earn, save, invest. Then she added a 4th one: automate. Because real wealth doesn't come from constant decision-making, it comes from systems. Olivia had automated her investments. Every month, a chunk of her income went straight into her portfolio before she had the chance to accidentally spend it on overpriced kombucha and vintage band tees. She had a money routine, just like people have skincare routines, or gym routines, or Sunday routines that involve aggressively ignoring all responsibilities. And John? He had no routine, no system, just vibes and Venmo. So he asked the question that changes everything. What's the first step? Olivia smiled. Stop treating your income like a destination. Start treating it like a tool. Your paycheck isn't where wealth ends, it's where it starts. The job isn't to spend it all efficiently, it's to use it like seed money. To buy assets, to build ownership, to slowly shift from being the player to owning part of the game. She told him most people stay stuck because they only think in terms of consumption. They make more, so they spend more. Get a raise, new car, tax refund, new iPhone, holiday bonus. All-inclusive resort with drinks that come in pineapples. Meanwhile, people who build wealth, they delay gratification, but not in a sad, eat ramen forever kind of way. They just understand that short-term chill creates long-term freedom. They don't save what's left, they spend what's left after saving. And they don't try to feel rich, they try to become rich. Not in a flashy, look at my money gun kind of way, but in a quiet, powerful, my net worth is working while I sleep kind of way. John left that coffee shop feeling like someone had removed his financial blindfold. He didn't go home and sell all his stuff or cancel Netflix or move into a yurt. He just made a list, one column where his money was going, other column where he wanted it to go. It was the first time he actually saw the gap. The first time he realized wealth wasn't about chasing more, it was about choosing better. He set up auto transfers, opened a basic investment account, and brace yourself, unsubscribed from 2 of his 6 streaming platforms. Baby steps. And that's the part no one told him. Building wealth isn't sexy. It's not yachts and rooftop brunches and standing next to cars you don't own. It's budgeting when you'd rather not. It's investing before you feel ready. It's saying not yet to things you could afford, so you can say yes to things that matter more later. It's making money your employee, not your therapist. And most importantly, it's realizing you don't need to be born rich. You just need to stop thinking like a spender and start thinking like a builder. Because once you start building, you don't go back. John didn't wake up the next morning with a sudden urge to buy a suit and start investing in rare minerals. He still ordered tacos. He still had that one gym membership he forgot to cancel. He was still very much John. But something had shifted. He started seeing money differently. It wasn't just this slippery thing that showed up, disappeared, and made him question all his life choices every time he opened his banking app. It was now a resource, a tool, a little workforce he could deploy, $1 at a time. Instead of asking, can I afford this? He started asking, will this move me forward? And it wasn't dramatic. It was subtle, quiet, almost unnoticeable to anyone else. But it showed up in tiny decisions, like skipping the new AirPods drop because his current ones still worked, or pausing before impulse buying a limited edition hoodie from a brand that has a new limited edition every Tuesday. He took that hoodie money and bought a few shares of a total market ETF instead. It felt weird at first, like brushing with your non-dominant hand, but kind of powerful too. Like he was sneaking into a secret club that no one told him about in school. And that was the wild part, how little he'd been taught. 12 years of education, and no one had ever explained compound interest the way Olivia did with the gummy bears. No one told him that if you invest consistently in boring index funds and let time do its thing, your money could double, triple, quadruple over the years. No one told him that building wealth wasn't about stock tips or side hustles. It was about consistency, patience, and owning stuff that grows. And definitely no one told him that being broke wasn't always a spending problem. Sometimes it's a system problem. John had been stuck in the earn-spend cycle, like a hamster on a treadmill powered by nachos and anxiety. But now, he was building a new system. The first time he watched his investment account earn $2.04 in dividends, he took a screenshot. Yes, it was barely coffee money, but it was money he didn't have to work for. Money that arrived while he was watching reruns of a cooking show he'd never cook anything from. It was the beginning of a shift, from labor income to asset income. Olivia called it graduating from the treadmill to the escalator. The treadmill, you run to stay in place. The escalator, you still walk, but the stairs are lifting you too. That's what happens when your money starts helping. Not all at once, but over time. John set up a rule. Anytime he got extra cash, a refund, a freelance gig, a birthday card from his aunt with that sweet $50, he'd send at least half of it to his freedom fund, not his vacation someday fund, not his maybe I'll need a new fridge fund, but his one day I don't need a job to survive fund. And it grew, slowly, uneventfully, until suddenly he had a few $1,000s in assets. And what's funny? The more it grew, the less he wanted to waste money on stuff he used to crave. Not because he became a minimalist monk who drinks rainwater and composts his socks, but because the power felt better than the purchase. Knowing he could one day walk away from a job he hated, that hit different. Knowing his future wasn't entirely tied to his next paycheck, that made every decision feel less desperate. Even his work changed. He started charging more for freelance gigs, not from arrogance, but because he didn't need to say yes to every lowball offer anymore. When you have options, you stop accepting scraps. And one night, after reviewing his progress, John texted Olivia, "Okay, real talk, why don't they teach this in school?" She replied with, "Because if everyone built wealth, no one would work 60 hours a week to make someone else rich." Oof, that one stayed with him. Not in a bitter, burn the system kind of way, but in a focused, I'm gonna build my own system kind of way. He started sharing what he was learning. His brother, who thought investing meant gambling. His coworker, who still had everything in a savings account earning 0.01% while inflation gently punched her in the wallet. Even his mom, who kept all her extra cash just in case in a literal shoebox labeled "in case." He didn't preach. He just showed them what was working. He explained that building wealth wasn't some elite thing. It was accessible. It was teachable, shareable, even fun if you let it be. It was saying, I'm going to be the boss of my money. I'm going to be intentional. I'm going to own more than I owe. He and Olivia started a Sunday ritual. 1 hour of money and muffins. Coffee, banana nut muffins, and reviewing their budgets, goals, and investments. Sometimes it was boring. Sometimes they argued over whether buying concert tickets counted as a necessary spiritual expense. But every time, they left feeling clear, in control. And that's what wealth building really is. Not a number, not a title, not a net worth flex on social media. It's a state of control. It's waking up and knowing your money isn't a fire you're constantly trying to put out. It's a team you're managing, a business you're running, a future you're designing. And John, he's still building. He still makes mistakes, still orders tacos when he's stressed. Progress, not perfection. But he's no longer guessing. He's building. With purpose, with patience, with peanut butter investments and slow cooker savings, and maybe, just maybe, a tiny bit of squirrel wisdom. So in conclusion, the truth about building wealth that no one told you is this. It's not about being born lucky. It's not about earning 6 figures. It's not about memorizing financial jargon or becoming the next Elon. It's about how you treat your money. It's about systems, not just savings, habits, not just hustle, and ownership of your assets and your decisions. Wealth is quiet, it's boring, it's invisible until it's not. But once you start building, you realize it's not that complicated. It's just a series of better choices stacked consistently until they change your life. If you want me to make other videos explaining these topics, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.